Hello, everybody, and welcome to Living with Fibromyalgia. This is Kathy, and I welcome you back to my channel. If you like what you hear here or like what you see here, please subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to meet with you back in the same place, same time, I guess. Every week I upload a new video for my channel every Thursday, so be looking for that. And if you find it helpful, please let me know. Feel free to email me or leave a message, or if you have any questions about just fibromyalgia in general or my own personal experience with fibromyalgia, I'm here to just have the conversation, to be real, and just to say you are not alone in the struggle and in the journey. So today I was thinking, what do I want to talk about with fibromyalgia? And what came to my mind was this idea of saying no and saying yes, and making that a part of our weekly routine. I was going to say everyday routine because I think it is in our daily routine too, but I'm also a big picture person. So in our week-long routine, getting into the habit of saying no so that you can say yes to those things you really want to do. Now, for me as a woman, saying no is a hard thing to start practicing. So start with the little things. But what you have to do is gauge these patterns in your body and really listen to your body to know what your triggers are and how your body responds to those triggers. And then once you have an understanding of that, then the way that you organize your week needs to be orchestrated. So for me, my pattern and my rhythm might be different than yours, but I know that if I get triggered, I am out for 3 days. So I'm usually in the bed for 2 days, and on the third day I start feeling better. My pain goes down and my fatigue goes down. So I do know that about me. But if it is something I can prepare for and something I really want to do, then I need to say no to conserve my energy to some activities in order to say yes and do the activities that I want to do. And I'll give you an example of this. Sometimes I will plan activities on a particular day, and then the day after not have anything planned. So I know if I'm going to do this here, I'm going to need this rest, this time to rest and be at home and just do nothing to regroup. So on Tuesdays, I have a crochet / knitting group that I really enjoy, and it's something I go to. A lot of times I go to it with my pain level pretty high, and I go so it'll get my mind off my pain. So sometimes knitting is, again, here's that weighing of what to say yes and no to. Knitting and crocheting can be a trigger for me, but it's something I really enjoy. So I have to weigh the balance of, what the consequences are going to be and the timing of that. But every Tuesday I go to crochet knitting group, and I have a small group of wonderful women, and that's the other thing that gets my mind off my pain, is to get up and out, center my conversation and my attention towards conversation and other people, and again, it gets my mind off my pain. Sometimes it actually brings my pain level down to keep moving through it. So this past week, our group just enjoys being together so much. We stayed over. So we usually meet like at 10:30 and end at 12:30, and we go on our way. Well, conversation and camaraderie and everything was just so good and in sync that we stayed there from 10:30 to 2 o'clock. So this whole time we're sitting here talking, most of that time I'm sitting there knitting. That was a little too much for me as far as my pain tolerance or trigger tolerance. And what was interesting about that day is I also was running around doing some extra errands into the evening that I usually do not do. I'm not an evening person anymore. That seems to really wear me out if I do an evening activity. I know that about myself because that's when my lowest energy level is. But I had to do some evening activity, which is very unusual for me, that same day. I went to bed. I'm telling you, I went to bed at 10 o'clock like I usually do. I was out like a light. I did not wake up until 11:30 the next morning. I'm telling you, I surprised myself, and yet I didn't surprise myself because I knew what is so interesting about fibromyalgia, and you know this if you have it. Every day, normal activities for people become something that is harder for us and takes more energy out of us. I think that's hard for people to understand, that just regular activities like washing the dishes, doing the laundry, and getting groceries, right? All of that, you look at normal people and they're able to do, not to say we're abnormal now, don't take that from what I'm saying, but we see that the average person is able to go and do these things without any problems. And for us with fibromyalgia, it's a choice, right? We have to pick and choose how we're going to conserve our energy. And I'm glad I'm talking about this today because especially if you are new to fibromyalgia, newly diagnosed, I would suggest keeping a journal, and in that journal, again, finding out what triggers your pain, but also what is causing fatigue. When are you feeling fatigued, and how does it come on? Try to find those patterns and line them up against patterns of your activity, and maybe even activity of the day before might answer your question why you're feeling lousy that day. So again, fibromyalgia is my biggest teacher. So it teaches me to be creative. It's not all or nothing. This is the hopeful message I give to you today. It is not all or nothing. So don't think of a no as cutting completely off those things you enjoy. Just look at a no as being able to open the door and say yes to something else you really want to put into your life and be able to do. And I tell you what, it's worth it, because if you take care of yourself and conserve your energy, then you are able to be a part of those family memories that you want to be a part of. A good example for me is I officiated my daughter's wedding, and I remember the day of, I got to her mother-in-law's house where we were to change and do all that, and I looked at her mother-in-law and I said, could you please tell me where a back bedroom is so I can go and lay down to refuel my energy before the ceremony? And I did. I went in a back bedroom. I shut the door, just me and nobody else, closed my eyes and had my cat nap for 20 minutes. That refueled my energy enough for all the excitement of my daughter's wedding, and I was able to be present and have my attention on the couple and just having fun with family, and I was able to do it. But you have to put in place, you have to think more broadly, right? More overarching over maybe a few days or a week. And you have to be strategic and plan out your time now. According to what? According to your triggers and what's going to refuel your energy. So don't see saying no as a negative thing in your life, but see it as a positive thing for bringing those things into your life that you love and still want to be a part of you. The other thing that's been very helpful for me, again, is not having to cut things out completely, but I might experience them in a different way. And I think I've shared this on another video, but I will share it again. So just the idea of getting groceries, right? For me, turned into going to a local grocery store that delivered groceries to my front door. And that is how I would get groceries. So I would get my groceries online, order them online, pay for them online, and the store would bring them right to my front doorstep. And I cannot tell you just that one little change in my life, how much that helped give me more energy to do other things in my life. So those things that are hard for us now, you don't have to cut them out. Just think of how to do them differently. Be strategic about what time of day you want to do your activity. Morning is when I have my most energy. Evenings is not a good time. So even like with my crochet group, I plan that in the morning. There's one that meets at night. I don't go to that one. So you have to do things according to your own needs. And then the last thing I'll say is those friends who don't understand, right? They don't understand when you say no. They don't understand why you're able to go and do something one day and why you can't go and do it the next. They don't understand why you're saying no to them. I have a friend. It's interesting how people will think in terms of their own activity level and feel that everybody else should be able to do that, right? So I have this very good friend, and she's very into kayaking. And, sometimes I would say just be a squeaky wheel and just repeat what you need, repeat what you need, repeat what you need, because some people just aren't going to hear it because they live in their own world, their own life, and their own abilities, and just think everybody else is going to match them there. So she's an avid kayaker and she loves to do it. And, I'll comment every once in a while, oh, I just think it's beautiful where you get to go and everything and kayak. And I was visiting her one time and she invited me to come kayak. And I looked at her and I was like, remember, I have fibromyalgia. Like I had to remind her. And I think because, right, we look so normal, like we're not in pain, we're not hurting, that we don't look sick. People forget, and we have to remind them. So just put your no into action and remember, think of that as a positive thing in your life for taking care of yourself and giving you the balance you need, but also being able to say yes to those things you really want to do. Be strategic and planning in your week where your energy is highest, where it's the lowest. Where you can have activity, where you need to rest. It really is almost like music, right? And I always say the rests in music are just important as the notes. So that's the little word of wisdom I will leave with you today. And I wish you many blessings in your week. Take care of yourself, be gentle to yourself, and I will send you cyber hugs today, very gentle hugs. Just know that you're not alone. I understand. And meet me back here again. I'd love to see you again, and subscribe if you haven't had a chance to do that. I appreciate your support. So until next time, many blessings.